What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Pensive Mind. Today we are going to be reacting to a Kevin Samuels video. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let's get right into it.
Conversation is, do we need each other for survival?
Right. And so, as far as survival, I think that if, men did not have women, you guys would survive a lot longer on this planet without women than women would be able to survive without men. However, there does come a time where men begin to die out.
That's not the point. I get that.
Mhm.
It's like you guys want to make this point because it's the only point to make. Granted, we're not talking about reproduction.
Mhm.
Women, if men were gone, women could not even live to the end of their natural lives. Men could live to the end of their natural lives even if we couldn't reproduce.
Yeah, but why do everyone bring up this point like men aren't important to reproduce as well? They always say this thing like, ma'am, you need the other half in order to reproduce. It's like, oh yeah, you guys need us to reproduce. So do you. It's a half and half thing. That's how it works.
And so I think that the conversation is around two extremes to make a very, very important point, because I do feel as though a lot of women do not see the need for men and do not respect men for what they bring to the table. However, I think that saying to men, especially men who are not as cognizant as yourself,
It doesn't
to say
matter.
like
It
that.
doesn't. Okay, look,
Mhm.
they don't have to be. The men who are already doing the jobs would stay doing the jobs. They don't
So
have
I
to
guess
become. They don't have to become cognizant of the fact. We just need a certain amount of replacements for the men who die off that are doing the jobs,
a
man.
certain amount of replacements for the men
Because
who
and we
die
would
out
take
here.
okay, ma'am.
Mhm.
I get it. You want to make the reproduction argument. That's not part of this conversation. We're not reproducing. All human beings are now sterile. I'm Thanos, right? I can snap women away. I can snap men away. I'm going to snap away reproduction. We're all sterile now.
Mhm.
So even if you existed, we still couldn't reproduce. Now, let's go from there. Do sterile men need sterile women to survive?
No,
Do
to survive.
sterile No. Do sterile women need sterile men to survive?
More of them would, yes. I do agree with that. I guess I think that my concern about this type of argument is that, do men then begin to see the value in teaching women how to survive, or do
No,
they look at
no,
women and
because
say, we don't need you?
no. See, that's the misunderstanding, that we need to teach you guys how to do anything. It's your
Mhm.
responsibility to learn. You wanted
Okay.
freedom. No. You wanted freedom. You wanted equality. Now it's your responsibility. Women are free to go into science, engineering, technology, and math. Women are free to go into all of these professions. No
Mhm.
one's stopping women, and women choose not to go into them because you don't want to. Women don't
So
want to do the jobs.
so women now, and I believe too that we are like saying or referring to modern women. And so modern women have been conditioned in a certain way. And I think that is
Uh,
more
that's
so of,
that's there we go with that bullshit. It's not y'all's fault now.
no, I'm not saying that it's not our fault. I think that we do definitely have to take responsibility. However, I think that bringing up the argument, okay, we as men don't need you guys, doesn't shed light on what women need to learn or
Whose
acknowledge
responsibility?
necessarily.
Okay, and who? Okay, let me explain. Let me ask you a question then. If I'm in the position where I can live without you,
Mhm.
and you're in a position where you can't live without me, who needs to learn what? Who needs to act with a sense of urgency in that situation?
I think the women do. And I, and
Stop.
in that,
Stop right there. Stop right there.
okay.
Stop right there. Women need to act with a sense of urgency because without us, you die. Women are not only not acting with a sense of urgency, you're walking around talking about you don't need men. They're going the opposite direction. So saying that I think it's a destructive conversation or we need to do something, men are saying we're tired of holding your hand. You want freedom. You want to be away from us. You want to call everything that we do toxic and misogynist or whatever. Fine. We'll go over here and do what we do. We'll be just fine. And then when you finally realize the women who finally are smart enough to realize that your life is better with us than without us, and you wanted to get on our page, we'll work with you. The ones that don't,
And so I guess the women who are not getting on the page. So I definitely feel as though, yes, women need to get on the page because, like you said, men do have the knowledge that as of now, men have more of the knowledge because of how women,
it's
think
not
or
as of
perceive
now.
things.
It's not as of now. As of now, meaning what? The women couldn't do it before? They were kept
No,
from the knowledge?
not saying that they were kept from it. I do not. I think that women did, develop these ideas and they turned away from it. I do agree that, and I can take responsibility for that. I myself do see the value in having a man. However, my concern though is that because women have had this perception for so long, now you have men and women both bitter against each other. And so are we
No, no,
helping each
no,
other?
no, 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 no. Men, you have women bitter against men.
Okay.
Where are the men walking around talking about scrubs and ain't nothing going on but the rent? You got
A
women
lot.
who are, hold on, no, no,
Okay.
no. You got men responding to those songs. You don't have men making those songs. While Scrubs was coming out, you had Babyface and Mint Condition talking about pretty brown eyes and Joe, all the things your man won't do. See,
Mm-hmm.
this is what we need to have a come to Jesus moment. The problem is not with the men. The problem is with women's opinion of men. Women in the West are out of step with reality. And nature has a way of correcting it. See, funny thing is, nature has a sense of humor. Scrubs and independent and all this other stuff. We don't need no man. And the future is female and abort male babies and all this other stuff and all these other
Mm-hmm.
crazy feminist notions. And then the world said, okay, all right, cool. Here you go. Here's a little virus for you. Boom. And then all those strong, independent women was sitting around the grocery store and the food mart like,
Yeah, so I feel like it's almost like we missed each other in that sense, as
no,
far
we
as
didn't
men
miss
and
each other.
women.
Men didn't miss each other. Men were like, you didn't need us, right? So when Becky was at home with her kids and Tom was going to the market,
Mm-hmm.
Brenda and Keisha was like, I saw fear in women's eyes for the first time because they had to go out and do it themselves.
Right. So at one point in time, and I think for me, even too, I'll speak more so whenever I think about the Black community, as far as the nature of how women view and respect their men has changed drastically.
Did you hear the
And so
previous woman? Did you hear the woman who wouldn't even admit? Did you hear the previous caller?
I did. And I mean, I can even say like certain things that were said about survival or things that I know about survival, I have learned from a man. I have. And so I just think my concern more so is that whenever we are saying, oh, men, like for instance, all of the women callers, they are very hostile. And I feel like they're hostile because what they hear first is, we don't need you. And it's expected. And not to say
Hold
that we have
on.
to
What do you think
coddle
men?
them.
What do you think men have been here? I'm sorry.
I understand that men, okay.
Hold on. I'm sorry if they're a little hostile because one man finally shows the numbers and puts an argument out in front and says, no, the truth is we don't need you. Look, ladies, if you're hostile and don't like it, your gender picked the fight over my lifetime.
Not only that, but women sit here and tell men all the time how they don't need them. So if you guys are offended, if a man will say, you know what, I don't need a woman, I'll be fine. What about when men has been hearing it for 300, 400 some odd years? What about that? What about when this movement was slowly starting to develop? At that point, they didn't care if a man had feelings or not, right? I guess so.
I'm just sitting back saying, well, look, if this is the truth, men can survive to the end of their natural days. Can you? And this woman sat here and argued, talking about she gonna drive to the beach and boil water and shit. And then I said, well, can you at least admit that you couldn't do that? Can you at least admit 2 plus 2 is 4? That's what I asked her.
Mm-hmm.
At least admit 2 plus 2 is 4. I ain't gonna do it. That's why I don't feel any sympathy for people like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
And
fine.
so, and I
You're gonna be
think that's,
willfully ignorant. Enjoy.
yeah. And I think that's the thing. So in our world now, yes, I get that it's like, okay, am I supposed to coddle, or do I have to step back? Do I have
So
to
let me ask you a
sacrifice
question
my
before let me ask you a question before I move on. Seeing as though you have this concern for women and I share it. And you know, and you are a different caliber of woman and you respect men and things like that. And you want to see men and women get on the same page. That's pretty much it, what I'm gathering from you.
Yes, that's pretty much.
Okay. So what are you doing to help teach women to be like you?
Sorry. Oh, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. She's not gonna say anything to them. She won't fight back. All right. They'll start chomping at her. She'll be scared, be afraid to lose friends, and then she won't do it. She won't hold them accountable. That's the honest truth.
I do have a platform that I'm attempting to create. I'm in the process of it. It is.
So in other words, right now, nothing. So again,
well, no, not
listen.
Okay.
Right now, your heart's in the right place, but the actual knowledge transfer and stuff still would have to come from men. See, I said it before and I said it again when I talked to that Tawana chick. Stop telling men what to do. I don't want to do another damn thing. I want y'all to start doing it. You start listen.
Okay.
You start checking your sisters and your womankind, and when they come out the mouth talk about men ain't this and that, you stop them in their track and say, no, we need these men. We need this and that. Don't duck your head. Don't keep on walking. You fight back like you want the men to fight back. You do what you want the men to do, and guess what? Just maybe, just maybe, men will see an ally in women like you, and then maybe they'll start to back you up.
And so I promise you, I do not bite my tongue when it comes to that, whether it's family, whether it's friends. I don't bite my tongue when it comes to that, when it comes to seeing females disrespect men. Even if that man is being disrespectful in that moment, I still will be the one to say to that woman, like, hey, you got to consider it this way or look at it this way. My only thing is that I feel as though this is a very powerful platform. And so, no, I'm not telling you as a man, like, oh, you need to do this, and women don't have to take any responsibility. I just feel as though we both have to take responsibility at the same in the same place and space. Because if we're
absolutely not, absolutely not. Let me tell you why I don't believe it.
Okay.
There's a gender war. Well, there's a war. Okay, there's a war. Move it out of. There's a war between East and West, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the war is over, what happens? There's a meeting that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? The winners and the losers sit down and hammer out a what?
Like a compromise of some sort.
What's it called?
You mean like what's what called? I'm sorry.
It's a peace treaty.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm with you.
A peace treaty.
Mm-hmm.
Do the winners have to travel to the losers' home side and sit down with them? Or do the losers have to go to the winners?
And I guess whenever we're looking, okay, sorry, I'm going to answer your question.
Be doggone direct.
It is the way, yes, it is that is the way that it works. So the winners would not have to do the traveling. They would not have to make that compromise.
No, the losers have to come down,
right,
and sit down and compromise and sign away everything. They got to make peace because they lost. Men have never left. We didn't walk away. The black men haven't walked away from the community. In this situation, that woman who was sitting there, she walked away. Excuse me? So if you're saying that men and women, no, I beg to differ. No, it's for women to come back and realize that you require us on this planet, and to humble yourselves as a gender and realize that, yes, we're different. We have different essences and everything else. But make no mistake, the male lion can hunt by himself. The lionesses need the pack, and they still can't keep what they eat. Hyenas will still take from the lionesses. Lionesses cannot live by themselves. They need a pride. Male lions can live alone. Tigers can live alone. And it's time for women to get back to a state of nature and realize that if there's a gender war, when a gender war is over, there's a winner and a loser. And it's not for the men to come sit down at the table first and ask you, well, hey, what you want? French toast that.
There's a winner and a loser. I want to know what's the prize then if we're not looking in the direction of men and women being able to, because even when you have a woman who is saying, okay, I respect men, she's going to run into men who are not going to believe that and see that and are going to test
What's the
that.
question? There's a winner and a loser. To answer that question, no, where's a winner and a loser? Finish that point.
I said, as far as like there being a winner and a loser in this context, then what's the prize?
The prize is you get to continue to exist.
Not for not.
Here's the prize. No, I'll answer. The question is the prize you get to continue to exist, and you also get the chance to possibly not die alone. That's the prize. It's the prize that every other woman on this planet ever had. Before 1965, the black community was married at a rate of 80%. The prize was you got somebody to spend life with. The prize is you didn't have to have a damn job and die alone, like so many women today. The prize is you get to have an opportunity to have a mate, a partner, a companion.
And so I think in that sense, I'm saying if we shed light on what the benefit is for the union, and that benefit
we don't have to share benefit. We don't have to share benefit because, ma'am, see, you keep trying to make us do something. Men don't need to share benefit on the union because men can get from here to the end of their lives without needing you. This is what true. You ladies are. So this is what you still keep trying to somehow get men to get women up to speed. No, you know what is going to get a woman up to speed? A woman who's been working at retail for all of her life. And when Neiman Marcus when I was sitting in Neiman Marcus when COVID hit and all those women had to realize that Neiman Marcus has filed bankruptcy and all those stores are closing, and women who have been there since they were 20 and they got no more skills in their 40s or 50s. What's a 40 or 50-year-old unmarried woman going to do in the world to work? And she's making $60,000, $70,000 at Neiman Marcus. She's going to go back into the work world with minimum wage skills. See, listen.
Okay.
It ain't for men to tell women who are independent doing their own thing because the world didn't tell men that they needed to be able to take care of themselves, cover themselves, provide for themselves because there's no safety blanket for men. There's no safety net for men. The men know the world don't owe us understanding, and if we don't do it for ourselves, you will be homeless and stepped over. Women are about to start learning these lessons because the world is not set up for retail, florists, and people like that to live by themselves, not partner, not marry, not have any children, because the state, the government cannot afford to take care of a bunch of elderly and maturing women. It cannot.
And so and maybe this is something that you can help me better understand in the sense of if I am to go out and talk to women and encourage them to respect men, to see the value of men. And this is something that I do. It's not on a large part on a platform or anything of that
How old
nature.
Are you?
It's part of my job.
How old are you?
I'm 26. I'll be 27 in 2 days.
You have a boyfriend?
No.
The best thing you can do is go.
Lost him 2 weeks ago, but
okay.
I don't have a boyfriend. I think I lost your audio.
No, you didn't. I just stopped talking because you were talking over me.
I apologize.
The best thing you can do is save yourself. The best thing you can do is save yourself. You go find a man, a black man, cooperate, get on a program, marry him, go make black babies. Save yourself. You ladies always keep trying to save each other and you ain't saved yourself. If you are on an airplane, what do they tell you? When the mask drops, put it over your nose first, right?
Yes.
Put that shit over your nose because what you gonna save women for? You don't have a man yourself.
And so this is what I when in the sense of me, and this is I think something a lot deeper as far as my situation.
Did you hear what I said?
I do. And
okay, why are we still talking about your ma'am?
Because as
You
far
can
as like
save
a
you can
title,
save
I
women
don't
by
have,
showing them a different example.
but a relationship.
Why'd I do that? I'm not going to keep going around in a circular conversation. Men are not in a position to have to negotiate with women. Not in this scenario. And I think these are extremely valuable conversations. And I don't doubt that some women are, we don't need, you've been telling me you don't need them for long. I don't need no 9 to 5 man. I don't need no scrubs. Ain't nothing going on with the rent. You've been telling me they ain't worth shit for the longest. And men said, okay. But when it gets right down to it, if you don't realize that you require the society, the structure to be your man in place of an actual man, don't get mad when somebody brings up the reality of your life. Case in point, if women are triggered by what I'm saying, they're not triggered by how they're living. They're not triggered by turning the key in that door and going in that house and it's empty. No man, no kid, no nothing, no prospects. Turn on the lights, that's provided by a man. Turn on the water, that's provided by a man. Turn on the gas, that's provided by a man. Bump in the night, call 911, the man gonna show up. Fall down, break your leg, this man gonna show up. House on fire, man gonna show up. Everything in your life is provided by men. Get in your car, built by men. Get on roads, driven by men. Put gas in your car, drilled by men, delivered by men, refined by men, delivered by men, put there, and probably even serviced by men. You ladies need to start realizing that the men you share this planet with have made your life so simple that you don't even realize how integral we are. And I'd be doggone if men got to sit back and go one step further to get women to realize they need men, because guess what? This is the first world problem. Go into a third world country and those women know they need their men. Why do you see women coming across the Rio Grande? Why do you see people coming over from Mexico and you'll see a woman with her man and they will get in that little house and all those kids and everything else? But where do they get all these Western notions? No, they get in that house, their family come over. And one thing they do believe in is family. And they go from that apartment, the next thing you know, doing all the jobs that we used to do. Next thing you know, in a generation, they own the house, the car, a business, such and so forth, because those women knew they needed their men. And their men could go stand out. Don't get me talking. No. This is nuts.